Where my ink pen go? Hello, Facebook. It is time for the say it.
Late night happy hour. This is a Friday night, late night happy hour. See, we know that some of y'all still go at 4 and 5, but by now you home. The children are fed, the husband, the wife, the significant other, they're all
The
taken
dog, the
care of.
cat.
Everybody's taken care of. And now let's take care of ourselves and let's take care of each other. So
Yes, indeed.
we decided to do this because we like to talk. I think we have a lot to say. I think we think we have a lot to say. But to be clear, we also want to hear from you. So tonight
Absolutely.
we're talking about intuition. And I
Mm.
just love this. And so I one of my saboteurs, so to speak, is that I am a hyperachiever. Gotta go D. So I've been researching.
Hmm. Hmm.
I've been researching
I
because
knew you had. I know you, Dr. Susu.
I want to know. It's like it's not that I need to know what other people are saying so that I can make my decision about what intuition is, because I got my own
Right,
thing going on. But I
right.
just wanted to know, well, what do other people say about this? So
Mm,
I looked at Aristotle and Plato. See, I went
mm,
way way back there.
mm.
But I looked at your favorite guy too.
Michael A. Singer?
Yeah, I looked at Michael. I looked at Michael Beckwith because that's a lot of people's favorite. I looked at Wayne Dyer, Louise Hay. I just checked out. It's like whatever popped up in my soul because these are all people that I have done a little bit of research, a little bit of study under,
Mm,
and they all say the same thing. And one of the things they say is that, hey, it's what you make it. You get to decide for yourself, right? But we all got it. So
mm,
that's the framework. Those two little things right there, we all got it, and you get to decide for yourself. But we're just gonna build it out. We're gonna build it
mm,
out. We're gonna talk about it.
mm.
We'll just share,
I'm
share some
already
stuff.
in it. Like, I'm already in it. I'm like, ooh, I can feel it.
So
You
I'm
gonna get
really
something on you
excited about
tonight.
this.
Yes,
I Karen, I'm
indeed.
talking.
No, I love it. I love it. I just drew my little picture, intuition. I am here for it. So I know we got people watching from a lot of pages. So thank you all for tuning in tonight. It's going to be juicy tonight. I'm so excited for it. It's going to be juicy. I want you to share it, please. I want you to tag a friend in it, please. If you feel like that they would benefit from some of the things that we say so that it sparks something in them to create their own path, to create, spark their own intuition and start listening to themselves because really that's truly what it's all about. So intuition. So Dr. Sue,
Ma'am,
what's your definition of intuition?
see, I get really kind of visual. I have this internal picture, and I see
Mm-hmm.
intuition as a superhighway. It's like I sit down, or maybe I don't sit down. Maybe I just have a thought, I wonder. And then I'm quiet. And so when I put the
Mm,
I wonder out there into the field, then God, by whatever name you call him, her, it, I call him
mm,
God because that's what I grew up with. And I refer to him as him, although God has no gender, no sex. God is energy, y'all. I'm just saying. But I just put it
right.
out there and then I listen. I listen.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't always do what I hear, but it's like prayer is, we'll come back and explore that some more. Prayer is me doing the talking, and the intuition is what comes from beyond the senses, beyond the mind, beyond the body, beyond what anybody might tell you. It is when you can tap into the divine and receive. So it's when I think of the process of engaging the intuitive process, many times we may want to know answers to things that we can't even articulate. Maybe it's at the subconscious
Mm,
level. But anyway, it's out in the energy field. And when we listen, the highway coming back toward us, that's when source is speaking to us. So intuition is knowing, it is having that inner knowing that does not rely on the data driven channel of the left brain. It does not rely on what you study. It comes from a source that is outside of you. It
mm,
comes from the one, the thing, the energy, the entity that created everything, all of us. And so when I work with my clients, one of the things that I tell them, many times they come and they want to know about, when am I going to get married? When am I going to get a husband? When am I going to get a wife?
right.
And usually what I'll say is, well, let's just work on your relationship with source. Because when you get right, when you're right within your spirit, when you're right within yourself, then you will get the answer. You will know. You won't have to ask anybody else. And so I say to them, stay in the ask
Mm,
for everything regarding, it doesn't matter
mm,
how big it is or how small it is. We are hardwired and spiritually wired to receive. It is, some one of some of the people that I was reading about, they say it's a gift. It's not a gift in that some people have it and some people don't. We all have intuition. We just don't all, we aren't all attuned to it. We have become so deafened and so deadened by all of what
definitely.
society gives to us, all of the programming, that we can't connect with our own inner being. That was a long answer, wasn't it, y'all?
That was a juicy answer. Ah, woo!
I love this topic. I got so excited.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
So
I ain't
what's
scoop.
your
But look,
definition?
ring it out, ring it out, ring it out. You stop. Ring it out. Ooh.
I'm just saying, I think that when we are born into this world, we probably are more tapped into that state of intuitive awareness than at any other time. And
Mhm.
then society, beginning with the parents, begins to do its thing of separating us from the divinity that we are, from the inner knowing. And when we'll say, somebody may say to a child, well, how do you know that? I don't know, I just know. Yeah. And we say, well,
Mm,
what's your proof? What's your evidence? And that's a part of, because society is so married to the idea of empirical data, scientific method. But where was all of that in the beginning? In the beginning, there was no quote unquote scientific method. So,
mm.
I just went deep. I'm just going to put it all out there, y'all. I went deep.
Mm-hmm.
I
She
told
tells
you
her business.
Aristotle and Plato, I looked at, but I said, okay, so what about the people that may be on the call that think intuition is woo woo? What do you say to them? So most of us believe that there is a higher source, and we all know that we didn't create it ourselves. So not that the Bible is the definitive word, but it is for some of us, right? And so I said, well, let me see what the Bible says, right? And so the Bible gives examples of people who God spoke to intuitively and they followed the word. How about one of the examples that was given multiple times is, what's the man name who built the ark?
Noah.
Noah. Noah, right? So just imagine you out there, you
They
minding your
thought
own
he's
business.
crazy.
You
They
out
thought
there,
he's crazy.
you minding your own business, and you hear this internal voice or this knowing that says,
Woo!
build an ark because the rain is coming. And you look
Mm-hmm.
around and it's a barren earth, right? Everything's dry and the sky is clear. And you start to say to your friends and your family, well, God told me to build an ark, right? And they say, old man done lost his mind. That's what happened to old people, they lose their mind. But he listened, right? He listened. And so he builds the ark and he brings the animals on as he was told intuitively, two by two. And then what happens? The rain comes. Now, all those people who were saying, crazy old man, they drown. See,
Let
when the
me in. Let me in. Angelique got in. Come in, Angelique. Come in. We gotta close the door to the ark.
so that was just one example. Another example that they gave of a biblical figure who was who God spoke to intuitively was Moses. Remember, Moses is walking along minding his own business. So the story
And
goes,
ho.
behold, there is a bush that burns, but there is no flame. Let me turn aside, he said, and go see this bush. Now, imagine that you are in today's world and you see a bush that doesn't burn. You pull out your cell phone, let me call my friend until I see a bush. And what does your friend say? What you been smoking, girl? What you
Yeah,
been
huh?
drinking? You
Because
have
you better
lost your
know
mind.
when you tried to send it, you accidentally deleted it. Now you ain't got no proof.
But then he had this
Oh
experience,
man.
right? He had this
Mm-hmm.
experience. And
Yeah.
the intuitive knowledge was go and tell the Pharaoh to let my people go. And
Hmm.
he did what we often do. Now, there's a point to this story, y'all. I'm not just telling stories to be telling stories.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
He
loving it.
initially he doubted what he heard. Now, I've
Right.
been there. I have heard things and it's like, no, I didn't hear that. But you know what? I used to do that all the time. And one time I don't even remember what it was that I was thinking about, but I thought, oh yeah, I just made that up. You know what I heard God say? You're just not that smart. You're pretty smart, but you're not so smart that you can make it up even before it is in your mind. How could you
Like,
know? How could
sit
you know?
down somewhere.
I said, okay. So
Oh
Moses
wow, yo.
heard the voice, and initially he did what we do. Like, nah,
Mm-hmm.
that can't be true. But
Mm-hmm.
he listened. And then what we have is the wonder of wonders. Pharaoh didn't want to
Right.
do it, but ultimately, even Pharaoh had to bend to the will of God. And so, my point is when we talk about intuition, it is not, you can think of it as a gift, but it is a gift that every person has. It is, for me, when I think about intuition, it just makes so much sense because it goes back to the principle that I believe, which is that there is no duality. We are all one. We're one with each other and we're one with the creator by whatever name you call him, it, her, thee. Many, many names, but only one creator. And we are all a part of that creative energy. And I believe, I don't know this for a fact, so I could be lying, y'all, but I do know this, that in the Christian Bible, it says that we are created in the image of God. And I
Mm-hmm.
believe that probably in other religions, they have
It
something
does.
similar, right?
It does. It does.
If we
Which
are
is why there's a
created
statute for how to act.
Yeah. If we are created in the image of God, it's not the physical image because God, there's the diversity, but it is the spiritual and the energetic, the etheric energy. That means a
Mm-hmm.
thing cannot create you in its image and you not have those same characteristics. Do you hear me?
Come
Do
on.
you hear me? A
Come on.
thing, the creator cannot create you in its image. To be created in the image means that you are a replica of the thing that created you. If you are a replica,
Mm-hmm.
you have the same characteristics. If in fact the divine can be everywhere, can speak all things to all people, and needs no words, why can it not communicate with your spirit? Because you are one with the source. I'm just saying. I ain't preaching to y'all, but I'm just saying. I'm single. So I'm gonna step back.
I think that's
I'm
what
gonna,
Angelique doing too.
I had a nap today.
Uh-huh.
I got my sleep.
She ready.
I'm on it. I am on it. So Miss Carrie,
This is
talk
so
to
good.
us.
This is so good. I mean, I already got a whole page of notes for my own self. You know what I'm saying? Like for me. And it's just okay. So when do I start? What was that last thing you was talking about? You said that we were a piece of source. We are in the image of the one that created everything. So if he, she, it, if source is the creator and we are extensions of that source, think of a glass. If you drop a piece of glass in a whole bunch of pieces, does it make each piece any less glass? It's all glass, it's all power. You have your portion, I have my portion, and my portion is all that I need for the piece I've been broken off into. So as we look at that piece of power, piece of the pie, all these terms didn't come from nothing. Piece of the pie, think of it, how do you count? Oh, because you have to get to a whole, but it takes each piece of the pie to make the equation work. And in each piece of pie is its own unique identity, its own shape, its own flavor. Now, going where you done had a piece of pie and you be like, the second piece of pie, this one's sweeter. Or if you cook brownies, you want a corner piece, or you want the middle piece, or you want the kind that's backed up like this. We all have our preference. And because we are all different pieces of the same whole, which if the creator creates, you're creating. And if the creator knows, you know your portion completely, wholly, deeply. And you're the only one that knows your whole completely and so deeply. So when we refer to these phrases like go within, it's because it's not a matter of separation.
Am I frozen or are you frozen?
Oh, there we go. We back. That gave me a time to look at my notes. We back. I said, "Ooh, let me look at my notes while it's twirling." I'm like, but so when we think about that, it's a whole. We are our own piece. We are in complete and total control of our piece. We have the say so only of what our piece is and is going to be, and how we perceive it to be. And Dr. Sue mentioned that the closest that we are to that is at birth. Now, we talk a lot about vibrations, right? We talk a lot about vibrating higher and being careful of the energy around you. Energy is nothing but, it's moving parts, it's moving vibrations, which creates that wave of emotions, a wave of instinct, a wave of all these things. So at birth, we are such a vibrant thing that we, with one touch, changes. Just one. Just think about that. Just one. Your mom's voice. All of a sudden, now you're looking there. You're focusing there. The bottle, your stomach rumbling. Oh, now you're focusing there. That's another ripple. Pain. Everybody done got dropped. That's a new ripple. Pain. Okay, that's what that is. Happiness, joy, disappointment, fear, and it goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And all these ripples start happening. All these ripples start happening. And we take on this thing. And when I say this, I don't mean the audible version, but noise is created in our life. So the communication gets a little fuzzy. So as you get to know so many other sounds and vibrations, you kind of sit aside the one that you know that you know. You know, I already know that one because I came from that one. I came directly from that one. So I don't have to kind of focus on this because I know that one. So then we're like, oh, let me focus on mama's though. Let me focus on daddy's. Let me focus on sister, brother, teacher, cab driver, bus, person I'm sitting next to in class, the dog. You know, I know when he scratches like that, he wants to go outside. You know your dog. You know, you are focused on that dog. You know his language. If he barks a certain way, that wasn't a fun bark. Ooh, somebody must be outside bark, or he got the pee bark. You know your dog. And that noise, 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 and all this noise. So then that sound, what we like to call intuition, which is home trying to communicate with you to say, hey, when you went there, you already knew this. Stay steady. You're going to come through it. This is what's meant to happen. This is what's meant to be. You know this isn't right. You know this is wrong. You know you should go there. You know you shouldn't. You know you ain't supposed to eat that. You know how that's going to make you feel. And we think that this is just our conscious a lot of times. Now, a lot of times it is because of the noise, of the noise, of the noise, of the noise. But we have to spend so much time with ourselves that we know if it's the commercial that we're listening to, or it's the fact that we know that there are things that we should be doing to better ourselves, to live a happier and more fulfilled lives that we're not doing. And that gets to that intuition. And like when I was thinking about, you know, all that noise and stuff, you also mentioned that we're deafened to it. Now we're deafened to the true voice of ourselves. And we're having to suffer through so many different vibrations and so many different voices and so many different perspectives that it's kind of difficult sometimes to quote unquote get back home. You get so turned around and every road starts looking the same. And you know you're gonna pass at one time, but last time it's on the left side, this time it's on the right side. Like, and you get kind of twisted and turned. So as we're talking about intuition, we're not saying that this is the simplest task that you're going to have to engage in. What we're saying is that it's worth it, because once you can rinse off a lot of the residue that has accumulated and has played a part in your vibration, the more still you are and not reach out to touch or focus on those things, the more you get back to you. You can't hit a ripple to stop it. You just create more of that ripple. And then other ripples. Because now you're mad at yourself for hitting the ripple. Then you know, it's just, but that intuition is that calm voice. It's not even a voice. When on the description of the StreamYard, I put, it doesn't speak, but you hear it. And there are no words, but you understand it. And sometimes it's not at all what you want to do, but it's what you know. It's just what you know. You don't know how you know that you know, but you just know. You just know. You know, that's one of those things that people are not going to understand sometimes. But if you know and you don't acknowledge at least that you know, you're definite in it again. Because once you turn away from your intuition, you're touching a vibration of something that you heard, and now it's echoing again. You've started it back up again. And it's not about, you know, touching the right thing. It's about don't touch nothing. Don't touch nothing. Be still. What does the scripture say? Be still and know that I'm God. Not listen for me. Not wait for me. Not do what I say. Just know. That's all you got to do. That's why we are human beings. We just over here just being cool and smooth and all in the groove of our own knowing, not hers or his. And then we ding 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 instead of you know, come to center, come back to you. So as we're talking about intuition, there's got to be some things coming up for you, Dr. Sue Asu. How do people get to that point? Not how they get to the point. We're at that point. I promise you, you are at the point of getting into you. We're always at that point. We're always moving in. Some of us just is like holding on to where we are. And that's why it feels like that. But what are some of the things that you can do to get back in tune with yourself?
You know, as you speak, and as we both speak, I think that there is so much noise, and it is the physical noise as well as the internal noise, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
physically, we can't hear because we've got the negative news,
Mm.
we've got news of murders and politics and all of that. And every time you hear a story, it's bringing everything is energy, y'all. Everything's energy.
Yeah.
And it's bringing you that kind of energy. So you're being inundated by negative energy. um, that clouds your spiritual vision, your internal vision. It clouds your external vision, but it clouds your internal vision. So when I think about just thinking about my own process, I didn't really, I think that I fought the connection because I didn't want to be crazy. And so I'm here to
Mm.
tell you that when Source is speaking to you, we have been so programmed that we're only supposed to hear words coming from the outside or from another human being, that when we begin to hear the sounds that are no words but we understand them to have meaning, we are afraid, because schizophrenics and other people who can't navigate reality, we don't want
Right.
to be crazy. I had a
Right.
brother, my younger brother was a schizophrenic, so I really didn't want to be crazy.
Right.
But what I had to do is begin to get over that fear. And I tell you, the experiences that I was having, the spiritual experiences were so strong, God wouldn't let me not listen. I mean,
Mm.
they were physical as well as actually having an internal knowing. So the first thing I had to do was get over the resistance, right? And I began by questioning, what do I really know? Which took me into a process of unlearning. It's very
Mm.
interesting to me that if you are in the four walls of a church, quote unquote, and you are having a spiritual experience, oh, she's holy, he's a prophet, she's a prophetess, God spoke to her and gave her word. But don't you dare step off that property onto the street, because now you crazy, right? So I had to begin to look at
That shit
what
crazy.
what is the teaching, and
I'd
does it make
say.
sense? And I began to question
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
But I also began to look at, what am I consuming? Not just food and beverage, but
Mm.
conversations with
Mm.
my
Mm.
friends. Your enemies are those people that you view as your enemies. You are alert to the poison that they spew,
Right.
but your friends are constantly, for the most part, dropping negative energy, that you love them, and you're so conditioned to, that's the way they are, that you don't even
Yeah.
see it. And that's important, because it is biasing you and causing you not to have a clear connection, right?
Mm.
So I began to look at, what am I consuming in terms of written material, entertainment, and conversations and friendship. And I walked away from a lot of things. Even
Yeah.
today, my friends will say, well, you never have any sound on. And I say, I'm so accustomed to it. It's music to me. The silence is musical. I'm not aware that I'm in silence, right? So in order to alleviate some of the noise or to extinguish some of the noise, I had to quiet things. It's like I was a news junkie. I think I may have said this before. I was a CNN news junkie.
CNN.
Man, from the moment I got up in the morning to the
Oof,
moment I went to bed at night, if I
never
had
been
free
that
time,
chick.
I was totally into CNN. Now, I would say 98% of CNN news is about something negative. And so if that's what you're consuming when you get up in the
Yup.
morning and you're consuming it all day long, and that's the last thing you consume at night. Now here's an interesting thing. At night, intuition, it works when you're asleep. That's when your higher self really is doing the work, right? And
Yeah.
so
No
what it's
resistance.
working on is the last thing that you fed it. If you've been feeding it negative news all day, when you wake up in the morning and you're tired, you doggone right you tired. Because you've been working
Mhm.
on negative stuff. You wake up, you're not feeling good.
Mhm.
You wake up, you got a headache, you got a good, yeah, because your spirit is tired, which is causing your body to be tired, which is causing it's building a block. You can't hear. You got the internal noise and the external noise. So I
Mm.
had to look at that. And then I had to start. It's not a matter of just taking away things. I had to replace them with something because nature
Yes.
abhors a
Yes.
vacuum. So as I took
Yeah.
away the negative stuff, no, I don't hear the lack of sound because I'm constantly filling my soul with positive stuff. Whether it's
Yeah.
positive, every now and then I will listen to music, but I read and I go to the park and I'm touching the trees and I'm looking at the water and I'm communing with the
Yeah.
birds, talking to
Yeah.
the trees. Yeah, I talk to the trees and they talk back, but I'm
Uh-huh.
grounding myself. Hey, Facebook user. And so, I'm doing all of that because I need that in order to stay grounded. And when I
Yeah.
can get in that state, then I can hear. You have to be quiet physically and mentally in order for your
Mhm.
spirit to connect because we are spiritual beings. When we talk about being one with source, source is spirit, source is energy, we're energy, and so we're connecting one to one. If
Mhm.
you got all that crud, it's like it's weighing you down. You're not vibing on the same at the same level. You want
Yeah.
to have a to be able to intuitively be at your maximum potential. You got to move some of that stuff out of the way. That's what I
Yeah,
had
you
to
do.
do. Now I'm not saying that my way works for everybody, but that's what I had to do. And so I
Yeah, I
meditate. Now
completely agree.
I don't I learned about affirmative prayer as opposed to petitionary prayer, as opposed to begging, oh Lord Jesus, please just to give me one more.
He
Let me
said,
just tell y'all.
give him more money.
Let me just tell y'all that right there, God
Give
is
him more
not
money.
playing favorites. That
Please,
that
Lord, give
that
him
doesn't
more
work.
money.
That doesn't work.
That's hilarious.
So we go a lot of places. I told y'all, we have a lot of fun, but we have fun in the context of this is some real nuggets we're dropping up in
Yeah.
here. Real
Oh,
nuggets.
yeah, it is. I love it. Absolutely. And I know everybody out there that's listening love it too. Meg Marie just slid in here. We talk about stuff like this all the time. It's so important to find that balance for yourself. It's very important only because it's the only reason we're here. We're here to do it our way. So if you're caught up in doing it everyone else's way, it's like, really? Right now, literally right now, someone could bust into that door, shoot me, and I'm dead. And I want my last words to be, I want to live my life. Is when we're constantly recreating what that means, and a lot of times people won't understand it. But if you have spent the time with yourself long enough and really admiring the person that you're becoming and really admiring, the difficult decisions that you're making and admiring the grit that you've gone through, even if it's college. Like if you're in college and you're at the end of college and you don't know what to do, you don't know, because you done went through 4 years of college and you don't want to be an accountant no more. you know, you don't want to do it. You just don't want to do it. Then suck the juice out of you. Trust yourself to know that you've been making a lot of the right decisions, because now that you are becoming an entrepreneur, you have so much knowledge about books and stuff that a lot of people are just in the weeds about. Like things like that, like really look and see how you've truly been guiding yourself. You made every decision. Every decision. You can look back and be like, my mama made me go to school for accounting and I don't even want to be an accountant. Or you can say, she may have made me be, trying to push me into it, but I'm really ultimately the one that decided. So truly, I knew all along that I would need these skills. You see how that's different? It's the same story, the same facts. But when you're paying attention to your power of decision and your power that you've been choosing and the power that you have been steering, sometimes blindfolded, but you ended up in a place that you're like, that's it. That feeling is y'all just made eye contact. You and your intuition just made eye contact. Nothing needed to be said. Nothing. That's that feeling that we're looking for. And it's just in those moments you want to roll around in that a little bit. Not just like, oh, cool. Let me post on Facebook a 2-page post about how I just had intuition. No, and you enjoy it. Post it tomorrow. I'm not saying no post it because I want to read it and I'm gonna like it. Actually, I'm gonna heart it, share it, but spend time with yourself celebrating more. We like to celebrate people to come celebrate with us. You celebrate you, and the people will come. They're like, girl, you got a glow. You walk in the store, I'm like, oh, she cute. And you like, and we try to be like, oh my God, some guy talked to me at the store today. But inside you're thinking, I got it.
Yes.
I still got it. But it's just like it starts to exude out of you. You didn't do nothing special that day. You probably thinking you looking like trash that day, you know what I mean? But it's because you've decided to just be you. Today is t-shirt day. It's not about what anyone out there is going to think, what anyone out there want to see, or what they want. I'm so, like, being in Memphis, let me tell you something, the fashion is on a whole nother level. But it amazes me the confidence people have to just wear what they want to wear. They do not care what you think about their outfit. And I love that. I love the spirit of that. We should not bother our vibration by trying to tap into what someone else thinks that we should be, do, say, go, live, places we work, the way we wear our hair, like down to our hair sometimes. I remember my dad got so mad at my mom when she cut her hair. And I'm like, what? Huh? Hair? Like, that India Arie song, I Am Not My Hair, that was such a beautiful song because she had such amazing locks and people always compliment her hair. And when she cut that shit off, oh my God, her face just was like it was glowing. It was just so beautiful because I could feel that for her, I could feel that. And that is that feeling. That's the eye contact. The freedom that I saw in her and I felt in that song, I made eye contact with source because that's how I'm supposed to feel. I recognize that when we feel good like that, we'll recognize it because we're back home. When you're feeling negative feelings, you're real far away from home. When you got anxiety, you're real far away from home. When you're in depression, it's because you're so far away from home. But baby, you are home. You're home. But because so much noise has happened around you, you've allowed it to seep inside of you. But I promise you, you can go beyond that if you keep going inside. If you keep going inside. One of the things that I do when I have to make tough decisions is I bring the situation out of my mind. And I literally put it in my living room. There's me, there's the situation, and I'm source. And I see everything I want to say to the situation. And I see the rebuttal that the situation going to have. And then I'm going to see my rebuttal and then their rebuttal and their, I play it all out. And I just sit and be like, oh, no, I don't want that to happen. And I say, what is the highest thing I could do in this situation? And that's what I do. And sometimes I may do it with the little kid in me saying,
Kicking and screaming, kicking and screaming.
"Whoo," look, I feel like my deal. "Whoo." Go get my purse. Go get my purse. But instead, I just be still and I listen to the direction of what is my highest thing in this moment. And then I move. Then I act. Then I speak. Then I engage. Or then I don't. Or then sometimes I don't. But be intentional about your intuition. Be intentional about listening. Be intentional about pausing before you make, whatever that decision is. Doctor, I think this is Dr. Sue because you mentioned prayer. Can you speak more on the connection between affirmation prayer and intuition?
Affirmative prayer. Okay, so let me back it up just a second.
Mm-hmm.
If we believe that source provides for all of our needs, that whatever it is that we need is there.
Mm-hmm.
We may not physically see it, but it is within the field, right? If you believe that, then rather than begging for it, it's like your Father in heaven, more Christian languaging, but your Father in heaven knows what you have need of. And a good father doesn't require you to beg. Remember the story
Mm-hmm.
of the prodigal son. When he got all his stuff and went off and blew it, as we sometimes do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But when he came back, his father welcomed him with open arms. Source is like that father, welcoming us with open arms.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever we need is here. The problem is we don't believe it. And now
Mm.
I'm not speaking about y'all because I talk about myself every time I tell you I talk about my own business
All of
because I
it.
have gone through what some would consider a lifetime of saying, show me because I don't believe it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in those moments, years, when I have said, I believe, I can truly say that there is nothing that I have wanted for that I haven't received.
Mm.
And when I look back over it, what I am conscious of is I wasn't saying, God, give me this, or oh, please, Lord, if you just let this happen, da, 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 I'm going to be all right. That's that
Mm-hmm.
begging petitionary prayer. What I
Mm-hmm.
was saying is, I'm doing this. I remember, for instance, when I decided that I was going to law school, my supervisor and I had a conflict. And I said to self, I don't have to do this. God, I want to go to law school. And so I just started telling people, I'm going to law school. I'm going to law school. And they said to me, oh, which one are you going to? And I said, Florida State University. And they said, oh, you've been accepted? I said, no, I haven't applied yet. But it's the only institution that I applied to, and I was accepted immediately. The difference is it's like it never occurred to me that I would not get accepted. Now they
Mm-hmm.
only take 200 students. 200
Mm-hmm.
students that are applying from around the country, right? They only
Mm-hmm.
take 200. I had faith. I had belief. There was no doubt. So
Yeah.
affirmative prayer is when you are, it's very similar to affirmations. You are affirming that you are speaking into existence that which you want. And you're not begging for it. Oh, please, Lord, if you only do this, then
Mm-hmm.
no, 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 no. That doesn't work. You don't have to beg from the universe. You don't have to beg from source. Affirm it,
Mm-hmm.
believe it, and see it. Here's when we get into the visualization, because visualization is a part of prayer. It's a part, that law of attraction, the visualization, having the
Mm-hmm.
energy that goes with having received that thing which you desire. When
Mm-hmm.
I said I was going to law school, and the same thing happened when I decided I was going to get a PhD. I had an incident where I was working with the chief of police, and we had done a lot of work on a policy. I was the legal advisor for the Tallahassee Police Department. We had done quite a bit of work. We've been working on this policy for about, it was a use of force policy, so at least 2 months, and I'm working night and day on it, right?
Mm.
Get it ready to pass, to be approved by command staff, and he tells me to go talk to this other woman. I was offended because I had already looked at her research, and she hadn't done anything new, but she was a girl of a different persuasion. And I said, never again. So I made up in my mind, never again will that happen. I will not have to go to anybody else as the expert. I will be the expert. I'm going to get my PhD. So I said, Lord, this is I tell you, and I lie not, that within 2 weeks I was accepted into Florida State University's PhD program with a full scholarship. I was a McKnight Fellow. They paid my way for 6 years.
Wow.
That was, you know, I didn't realize what I was doing then. I didn't know that there was a name for it. But affirmative prayer is just that. It is affirming that you have already received that which you desire, because you know that everything, we live in an abundant universe. The problem is, for most of us, myself included sometimes, is that we say, I will believe it when I see it. But it really is the other way around. You will see it when you believe it.
That goes right with this book that I'm reading now, Tantra Yoga. And it's talking about living it, like how it was I forget the guy's name, but he was a Buddha, and he was born into, you know, money. He was a prince, and his father kept him, you know, in this kingdom until he was 29 years old. He had never left the kingdom, but through sickness and seeing things in the kingdom, he was just like, there's got to be something beyond these walls that I can, you know, get alone and whatever, and figure out how to end this human suffering. So he goes out and he excludes himself altogether. Like, he's just out there, he's praying, he's meditating, he's doing all the things, whatever. And then he realized, he's like, I just went from one extreme to the other. He said, there's got to be like some kind of balance. And when he started thinking about the way in which he felt like his intuition was telling him to live, it was like to accept everything and just be still in everything, and just be in everything, and appreciate everything, and know that this is the way. So with that, tantric yoga is talking about living the person that you want to be. No prerequisites, no waiting, because day one, when you decided to be a law student, you had already graduated. Time just needed to pass. You know, and a lot of times we don't want to occupy the time doing those things that gives us the ends to the means. We want it to poof, be there. It is. You're right. That's exactly what happens. Poof, it is there, but now you have to live it. And in the process of living it, that's when manifestation happens. It's like a seed. You plant it and you go out there and say, what a corn? What a corn? Oh God, we just got a corn. You planted it yesterday. And guess what? There's nothing that you can do inside of where that corn is planted to speed it up. It's going to grow.
It's like the little kid that said, my son used to do this. Are we there yet? Like, we just got in the car.
Yes. Yes.
Are we there yet?
We just got in the car.
Hours.
And Angelique says, thank you for expanding that, Dr. Sue. But yeah, intuition will the intuition is important, because along the way, we get those nudges to go to law school. We get those nudges to go ahead and apply. We get those nudges to speak things into the atmosphere. We get those, and everybody's like, you ain't applied. And they say that about everything. You gonna cut your hair? I mean, the littlest thing. You eating a Reese cup? Mind your business. Like,
You know, when I made the decision to go to school, both of those times, there was no doubt in my mind. No doubt in my
Mm-hmm.
mind. And even when I went to get my master's degree, technically my GPA wasn't strong. And
Yeah.
technically, I shouldn't have been accepted, but they accepted me in the master's program as a provisional student. And they said you have one semester to um, one semester to take the GRE and make an acceptable score. I didn't take the GRE until my last semester, but I graduated with a 3.8. They didn't ask me about taking, because each semester I was getting 3.8 and 4.0.
Yeah.
They didn't
Yeah.
ask me about taking that test. And finally, what they said, they just needed a score on the books before I left.
Yeah.
So this goes back to one of the things that we haven't really just expressly stated. Number one, there are no mistakes, there are no errors, there are no failures.
Mm-hmm.
And whether you like it and or agree with it or not, there are multiple plans, multiple paths, but your destiny has already been decided. Now,
Mm-hmm.
what is different is it's not like there's only one way. It's like when you go to, I hate this road, this area, but Spaghetti Junction, they got all these different roads going
I
all
know
these different
those
places,
roads. I
right?
know those roads very well.
But ultimately, you're still going north and south,
Mm-hmm.
ultimately. And so when we think about, I won't say we, when I think about your destiny or the predestination, there are many paths, but ultimately, you still are going to get where you're supposed to go. If you
Mm-hmm.
go to the left, there are lessons and opportunities and challenges that you have at the left that you may not manifest themselves in the same way if you go to the right. But you still are going to learn the lessons. If you go straight ahead,
Yes.
if you go backward, whatever lessons you're here to learn, you will learn them before you take your last breath and transition into your next life. So,
Yes.
so often we as humans get caught up on, and this is something that I work with a lot of people on, what is my purpose? Listen, if God has put a dream in your heart, remember what he told me? You're just not that smart that you can just come up with it on your own. Yeah, I made you pretty smart, but you're not that smart. And so if you keep having this
You're
recurring
not a
thought,
wizard.
recurring dream, right? Exactly. Then that means that this is something you need to explore. And do not let the world tell you can't do it. And don't tell yourself you can't do it. Maybe you need to get some education in it. Maybe you need to develop some
Mm-hmm.
skill sets, but it
Mm-hmm.
is what you're here to do. And I'll
Mm-hmm.
tell you this too. Ultimately, we have a lot of ways of getting there, but we're only here for one purpose: love, 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 love of self and love of others. And so it doesn't matter what you do, if you're doing it and you are uplifting humanity, you're caring for the earth, you're caring for the beings, all of which, remember what Carrie said about you break the glass, all of that, the rocks, the rivers, the streams, the trees, the little bunnies, all of
They're
that is
not no
part
less
of divine.
glass.
It's all just an aspect, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
when you can see the connectivity, the oneness of everything, you see that tapestry behind her, all of those differences, but how they just fit together. That's life. That's what it means to be here on this earth plane as a divine being. Intuition really
Mm-hmm.
is tapping into the oneness of everything that is and
Mm-hmm.
loving yourself and understanding. Don't get caught up in the anger. That's low vibrational. The hatred, that's low vibrational. Don't hurt other people.
Mm-hmm.
Love, this is what I know. You can't give what you don't have. And so one of the ways to know if you're on purpose, how are you showing up in your relationship with other people? You mad, you hateful, you cussing, you fussing. It's not about them. Not about them. It is all about you. So what you
Mm-hmm.
cussing about inside of you that you don't like?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when you can turn inside, then you'll stop hating other people. Because when you are filled with the love of self, and when I say self, I'm talking about the universal self. When you're filled
The
with that,
whole
you
pie.
can't hate. You can't hate. There's just no hate. You may not understand. You may look at people cross-eyed and go, I just don't get it, but you won't hate. You won't hate.
Right.
You won't
Mm-hmm.
put, and all of those things, that's low vibrational. And you say, I can't forgive this person. I just, hey, it's not them that's being hurt by it. It's you. You bringing your energy down.
Mm-hmm.
We started out talking about intuition.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, you may be wondering how all of this connects. But all of those negative vibes, they're like somebody stacking quips over you and your ability to connect with source. And you
Mm-hmm.
got to demask and delayer and pull all of that crap out of you. And that's when the energy flows. That's when
Mm-hmm.
the connection, and you can literally, when, like for me, I know when I am in total alignment because the energy flows through me just like electricity. But
Mm-hmm.
it's there for all of us. You have it within you. But when you take on all of the stuff, yours and other people, then it's blocked. It's not that it doesn't flow, it just slowed down. It's like it's got to dig, you got to dig it out from under there. And then that's when you will be saying, dang, I knew it. It happened again. Hey, got it. Intuition is flowing.
Mm-hmm.
Meditation helps, prayer helps, wonderful high vibrational conversations help. Friends who are and loved ones who are doing their own work. This is a job.
Mm-hmm.
It's a job. And I got this just I guess maybe a couple of months or so ago. Because I was still thinking, well, when is this gonna all be over? When am I gonna be just flow? You know, we all just want to flow.
She got cobras and stuff.
Yeah. When we are just gonna flow. No, 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 no. It ain't like that. You're gonna be until you leave. What happens is that you recognize it's a part of the journey. It's a part of the
Yeah.
journey. You don't get knocked
Yeah.
down by it anymore. You understand that when the hard times comes, when the challenges come, they're bringing you what you need for the next thing that's going to knock you down, and now you'll be able to help get up because it helps you to strengthen your get up muscles. You don't have the hard times when something really, really hard happens. You can't get up from it because you don't know. It's like going to the gym, mental fitness, spiritual fitness, physical fitness. You need all of that. Okay, I'm done.
No, don't. This lady, this lady knows she'll drop a mic. Okay, I'm done. And Denise said, yeah. Oh man, we're coming up on the top of the hour, y'all. Listen, if you didn't get some of this juice on you right here, oh my God. I don't even know. I don't even know. You must be wrapped in saran wrap or something. I don't know. But this has blessed my soul this night. Intuition is one of those things you can't teach. Intuition is one of those things you have to listen out for. You have to feel out for because it's yours on its own, just like your life, just like your fingerprint, just like all the things that make up you. What is going to be the message for you? A lot of times you're not going to be able to put it into words. You're not going to be able to explain it to people. And I'm going to tell you why. It's because it's not for them.
Yes.
Always
Yes.
remember that. It wasn't for them, it was for you. But if you listen, it will free you from the responsibility of their understanding because you will learn to know that you do know. You will learn to know that you can trust yourself. You will realize that the more you listen to the thing you can't hear, the more you communicate with the thing that does not use words, the more that you go into a path that doesn't even exist, and just trust. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. If you need, like, I forget what her name is, but she did this little thing on, I don't know, it's like she's like a prophet or something. I forget anything. Anyway, she was talking about this scripture and how Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not to thy own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him and he shall direct thy path. You not even gonna understand sometimes. You're not, but you will know. I promise you'll know. Because we're not supposed to lean to our understanding on this blink of an eye trip that we take here. Everything is included into things that are happening right now. Everything, things that existed long before humankind did, things that's going to be created after we leave this world. Everything in totality. We're just a piece of the pie, but we are no less glass, and you know, and that is your intuition. It's there. I promise you, it's there. So, Ashe, I love you so much. Dr. Sue, you have any last words before we sign off?
I do. So I want to invite you all, if you saw the notice, I will
Yeah.
be on Sunday night, I will be doing an event, a webinar with River Jones, and we are talking about love mastery. Now, you know, I'm all about energy, so I'm going to be talking about some of the same kinds of things that I'm talking about now, because I do believe, and I say continuously, we're all energy. Everything is energy. It's all energy. And when you understand that, it just makes life flow a lot easier. So that's Sunday night
Ashe.
at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. On Tuesday at lunchtime, I will be with Christina Johnson on her platform, and we are continuing the conversation we had this past Thursday about really all of this connects together, because this conversation that she and I are having is about you have the ability, you have the power to heal yourself physically, mentally,
Mm-hmm.
emotionally. The body, the human body is created. God created us with everything that we need for self healing. So we'll be talking about that.
All
And then the
right.
last thing is, Carrie, what we talking about next week, girl?
Well, I don't know. What do you
Mm.
want to talk about next week? I mean,
Oh.
I got my notebook here, so I know it's something in here, you know.
Hmm. Well, you know, the
You know
law of
what?
attraction is old school. I don't want to, I do want to talk about the law of attraction at some point, but I don't want to talk about it so soon. Um,
Okay.
uh,
So
you have
so
you
I
read,
picked up my note. Huh? Have I read what?
I was just going to ask you if you have read Florence Scovel Shinn's The Game of Life.
Yes. I think I read everything by her.
I love her work, so
Yeah.
we might talk about that. I like the metaphor, the game of life.
Okay.
I think, and we don't have to talk about it. I'm just kind of talking through. But at some point, I would like to talk about that, because I think
Yeah.
that we don't know how to play it, and that goes with James Allen, As a Man
Mhm.
Thinketh, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
all of that also is related to the law of attraction. They're not necessarily calling it that, but it is calling into being, learning how to play the game of life energetically, in a way that you can obtain your goals, that you can have health, have wealth, have abundance and
Mhm.
greatness.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
maybe that's something that we
Yeah.
could talk about later. But what were
Yeah.
you going to say
No.
before I
We
so
no.
be?
We're going for it. We're going for it because what you said is just what it was. We're gonna be talking about Florence Scovel Shinn's and the metaphor is playing the game of life. So
Love
we're
that.
gonna what we'll do is we'll both create our own posts, put it in our own community, share them, vice versa, so that you'll have plenty of ways to tap in. I'll go ahead and create the StreamYard link so you can tap the thing and get your reminder. Because I know, sometimes we do forget. We just sitting on the couch and we just want to breathe for a second. But throw us on, interact with us. Let this be your downtime. Like, listen, don't bother me for an hour. I got a conversation I gotta have with some wonderful ladies. So join us next week, next Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Pacific. And before we go, I'm just gonna read this because I picked up my notebook and we'll think about a topic. And this first page says, "Each day I wake up, I am reminded how powerful I am. As I slept, my heart continued to beat. My lungs maintained my breath. On my brain's command, I slept. While I slept, all momentum stopped. And as I rejoined the awakened state, I am more awake now than I have ever been, because now I know my life has a higher calling than anything I've yet imagined."
I'm going to say
Ashe.
one more thing. One more thing.
Ashe.
Okay, give
Say
me
it,
one more
girl.
second. Okay,
Yeah.
so often as we talk about intuition, you may wonder, you may say, well, I went to God and about this and I didn't get an answer. I want to speak to that. And I don't have
Okay.
much to say other than this. If you didn't get an answer, that was the answer. That was the answer right there. So it's not a
Absolutely.
yes or a no. It may be, it's just not time. And
Be
so
still.
unless you get
Mm-hmm.
one of those very definitive answers, don't move. Now, don't move
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that you are inactive. You keep, if you're on the
Right.
path and you know that you're on the path, you keep doing what you're doing, but you don't make any drastic moves. Like
Mm-hmm.
you are in love and you got your boo and y'all booed up or whatever,
Y'all got
and
your boo.
you know, and you're wanting to get
Mm-hmm.
married and you say, God, should I marry? Should I not? Whatever. If you don't get a yes, consider it a no. Consider it a no.
Yeah.
And consider it like this. It's not that that's a permanent no. It's just not right now. Let's say
Mm-hmm.
another thing may be a job. Oh, I want this job and I
Mm-hmm.
applied for it and I haven't heard from it. Doesn't
Mm-hmm.
mean that you're not qualified. Doesn't mean that the job's not for you. Just not now. Keep doing your inner work. Always
Mm-hmm.
keep doing your inner work, removing all
Mm-hmm.
of that stuff so that you can hear. Because here's the thing, what I know is that when you don't get an answer, that is the answer, because it means that you still have some work to do. Just
Mm-hmm.
saying. Love y'all.
We're gonna see y'all next week. We love you so much. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.